Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of MLV Speaks, where we bring you all things MLV centered around small business ownership, politics, events, and people who uplift and inspire our community. Today, we have something very interesting to share with you guys. We have Mr. Paul and Jim from the Venice History Committee, and they're going to be sharing with us a lot of the rich history that Venice city has to offer. So we'd like to welcome Paul and Jim to our podcast. Welcome, guys, and thank you so much for joining us.
Well, you're certainly welcome. We're happy to be here.
I'm happy.
Good. Good.
Always happy to talk to someone from Venice.
Well, we really appreciate your time. So we're not gonna keep you very long. So we're gonna get right into this, and we're gonna just ask you guys to just share with us a bit about the History Committee. When was it established, and what was the purpose for it?
The History Committee was actually finally incorporated in 2008. And it came about as a result of people, well, we called them the old folks. Well, that's us now. But some of the old folks were talking about Venice and about their life and how wonderful a life of growing up that they had. And Don Hornberger, who was the founder of the Venice History Committee, sat around and listened, and he thought, goodness sakes, these people, these old folks, have the same thoughts and ideas that the people I know have about Venice. And so it was decided, and they were afraid that once they died, all of this history, this good stuff would be gone. And so Don thought, well, maybe we ought to get together and work on becoming a group that would check on history of Venice and what made it the city that it was.
Right. Yeah. It's important to understand your history. So, what part of Venice did you guys grow up in?
I grew up on Kerr Street, the
Okay.
southern end of Venice.
And
Yeah.
I grew up on what we call Little Italy. And that was Venice. It was Oriole Street, Robin Street, and
Hmm.
some on Klein Street. Called that because we had a fairly large Italian community, and almost all of them
Oh,
lived
wow.
right there. And the Savages, Chambros, uh, Scaturros, Cecilios, all
All
Italian
the
immigrants.
Italy.
Yeah. Yeah.
What year? What year are we talking here?
Well, they established themselves before we did, so it had to be in the 30s. Most of the
Mm.
Italians came up from Louisiana. They worked in the sugar industry in Louisiana, and don't really know what caused them to move to Venice, although there was plenty of industry at that time here.
Hmm. So, what was it like for you guys when you were growing up in these streets of Venice?
Well,
Paul, you want to tell me? Yeah.
really a transplant. I was in the third grade when my parents moved from Center Ridge, Arkansas, to the Heinz Building on Broadway, and they didn't stay there very long. And they established a home on Kerr Street. And so I was in, like I said, in third grade. And then I spent
Hmm.
the rest of my growing up in Venice.
Oh,
And myself,
wow.
I moved to Venice. My grandparents lived in Venice, and after
Hmm.
my dad got home from World War II, we moved upstairs of my grandparents' house on Oriole Street. So we had a little furnished apartment upstairs. And of course, back in those days, we had the Iceman who came by with his wagon
Oh,
full of ice drawn by the horses. And we had little signs that we'd put up in the window that told him how much ice we wanted each day or every time he came.
Wow.
And the kids, as a
Wow.
kid, used to go behind it, and every once in a while he would chip off an extra piece of ice for the kids,
Yeah.
and we had the opportunity. Yeah, oh, that was a treat, man.
That was a
It was,
treat, huh?
yeah, sure. I mean, ice, that was hard to get in those days. You didn't
Wow. I
have
never
ice for,
thought, yeah.
yeah, you never thought
Yeah,
of
we
refrigerator.
wouldn't think about ice.
But in the hot summer, boy, yeah, that was a great treat.
That wasn't no ice cream, just ice, huh?
Yeah. Oh, ice cream, that was really the treat, but that didn't happen too often. That cost money, and money was very tight for us at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, what type of businesses, did they have in Venice at that time?
Oh, Paul, do you want?
When, like I said, when I first moved there, it was that Heinz building on Broadway, and like just one block to the east was Al Pace's hardware store. So
Mhm.
I remember that as one of the mainstays of business in Venice.
Early before even Al Pace, there was a glass company, a Venice glass company. There was actually a stockyards located down on the island area and coming spilling up
Okay.
that people would drive their cattle to Venice alongside the slough that separated Venice from the Kerr Island, and they would bring their cattle there, and then they would transport the cattle across the river on ferry boats that
Mm.
would take the cattle to St. Louis. And later, of course, East St. Louis became the main processing center for all of the livestock that would come through. But that was,
Wow.
In fact, they called it the National Stockyards, I think.
yes, yes, national stockyards. Um, the electric company was founded there in Venice, and that was the largest electric factory in the West at that point. Um, and the owner, his mansion, still stands in Venice, and it's
Oh,
located.
really?
Yes, it's as you come across the viaduct into Venice. On the left side, there's this big old mansion sitting there that's fallen apart, and it's been derelict for quite a while. The American Legion used to have it and hold it, and there's a church now, I think, in the back part of it. But that's the
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, that's the new Shining Light Church, the big building. Terrell and
yeah,
I, we were just talking about that building here the other day. And we were trying to like, I don't know what was, I wonder what was in that building. But Terrell even said, "Hey, that would have been a nice house." So we know
yes,
now that it was a mansion. Okay.
yes, the
Now,
Cole Koll mansion. Hmm.
Is that the
Cole
guy?
Mansion. Okay.
Is that the guy that's buried in Granite City, up there at the derelict cemetery?
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
Mhm.
Hmm.
He's the only.
Wow, that is.
Yeah.
Now, when did John's Drive-In come into existence? We call it the
Oh,
Tasty Freeze.
yeah. Well, it was the Tasty Freeze originally. That was the original name. That
Hmm.
was, you remember the date exactly, Paul?
No, I don't.
I
Can't remember whether it was there when I got there or not.
Yeah. Well, John Dazan was the owner, Dezan, and John started that in, I would say, 54, 1954. And
Okay.
as the Tasty Freeze, we have pictures of John's place when it had the Tasty Freeze name across the top. And I recall that the prices were for a small sundae it was 15 cents, and for a large one it was 25 cents. And try buying a sundae today for
Yeah,
that price.
and it was real.
Right.
It was really a meeting place for everybody in Venice. Like a gal by the name of Caroline Mang lived over on Oriole Street, and Kathleen, the girl I ended up marrying, lived down on Granville Street. That's one end of town to the other. They would walk all the way to John's just to meet and have an ice cream.
I have ice cream.
My
Wow. You're going to say? Mhm.
Yes, my I have a story about John's Drive-In and the fact that I had my first job at John's Drive-In.
You
Uh,
worked there.
I was a youngster, not old enough to work inside, but he said, Jim, he said, I've got a stick and with a nail in it, and I've got a bag, and he said, I'd like you to pick up all of the trash that the people drop out of their
Drop
cars
out.
after they've eaten. So that was my first job,
Your
and
first job. Wow.
it really taught me a good lesson because you've got a job and now you've got a little money to spend too, and you got
Hmm.
friends all of a sudden because you're making money.
And you can
And
even buy more ice cream.
that's right. And so one day I came back to go to work, and John, where's my stick? And he said, well, Jim, it's not yours anymore. And I said, why is that? He said, well, he said, you've been not showing up sometimes. You go and play it with your friends. And he said, so I need somebody that's reliable. And so therefore I've given your job and your stick and stuff to somebody else. That was quite a lesson to learn.
He
And I never
fired you.
fired. Yes. And that was the only time I've ever been fired from a job.
Well, good for you. Good for you. Now, when did I know there's the city hall is sitting there now on the corner of Broadway and Klein. And then there is a Chinese restaurant that's right in the same area that the Tasty Freeze, which it's still an ice cream place now, but it's next door is the Chinese restaurant. Well, now, was that a gas station there?
Yes, it was a gas station, but I forget who had that.
Yeah, Ritz.
Yeah.
I can't remember his last name, but Ritz's filling station was right there at that spot.
Mm-hmm.
The only
It wasn't the only filling
no,
station,
no,
though.
there were two.
We had a place on Main Street. Some fellow by the name of Essen Price, I think, ran it. And then later on, a guy that was in my class in high school, a fellow by the name of Joe Foote, owned it for a while also.
Hmm. So,
Big city, two filling stations.
uh, yeah, it was. It served as one of the main stations because it was on the main road.
It was on
The
the
place
main rail.
across the street were more interesting, however.
You talking about Reese Drugstore?
No, no, I'm talking about um, the uh, Goodrich's Tavern
Oh, okay.
was on one,
Oh,
and on the other corner across the street was Simmons Tavern. And
oh yeah.
yeah, those two taverns were two of many that were in Venice, but they were the ones where most of the people that we knew would congregate. And parents would stop by there after work, and have a couple and talk to their various friends. And it was part of the actual nightlife of Venice at that point. Um, and Wives and husbands would join in over at Simmons, particularly, and sit and talk and play cards and just have social hours.
To have a social time. I do remember growing up there were two they're no longer there, but I do remember those buildings being there. The
Mhm.
small post office is still there. And then there was a Tri-City grocery store when we were coming up. It's
Mhm.
now a mobile gas station, but was Tri-City there when you during this time, or was it called something different?
The Tri City was down on Main Street when I was a kid, and then later on they
Okay.
moved to the store that you're remembering.
Mhm. I remember
Okay.
that Tri-City. Yeah, this was again the big store. So they had
Mhm.
they had everything. We had uh, very small markets, like Stanley's of Asia on Oriole Street had a market, and uh, uh, my it just drawn a blank. The lady on um, Kavner.
Oh,
Kavner's
yeah.
had a store right across from John's, and that was also the gathering place. If it got too full at John's, people would go across the street to Kavner's, who was closed, and we would sit out there on the stoop and watch the traffic go by. And
You're talking about that grocery store right next to St. Mark Grade School?
yes, 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 and so
Oh wow, it's just a shooting, sitting out there shooting the breeze. And
yeah,
then we had the Venice, was the Venice Recreation Center. Yeah, did there was there a recreation center there at that time, which is still there now?
right. No, not at that point. Venice had a teen town, which was music and dancing up
Up
top.
above the police station.
Yes, above the police station,
Oh, okay.
and we used to dance up there, and they would hold dances for the adults too at various times. But
Wow.
uh, we would gather there and dance, and then watch the TV show called The Hit Parade, which they would count down the number one from 10 down to number one,
Oh,
and sing those songs. And
wow.
many a romance was started at in the Venice.
Did you ever dance?
That's
Did you ever dance with Kathy up there?
No,
You got to
no.
know her later.
I met my wife later.
Well, I
Yes.
danced many
you
a
met her
dance with.
later on.
I
Yeah.
So
danced many.
let's switch gears and talk about Venice School. What can you tell us about Venice School? They're building a new one now. So tell us about the original Venice School.
Okay. The original school was an elementary school only, uh, and had a big cupola on it, and we have photos of that. Um, and was the actually the only school in Venice. And then they had high school. They had a room that they used for high school back. But the Venice High School was first built in 1917, and
Mm,
the Venice High School um, was still there until 2002 when it was torn down.
Was Lincoln
hmm
High School there at that time too, or
Hmm.
not?
Hmm.
Okay.
And
Is that considered Lincoln Tech, the Lincoln Technical School? Was
Yeah,
different?
same
yes,
location though.
yeah. Hmm. Uh, Venice High School consisted of about 100 students in my time.
Oh,
That's a good guess.
Yeah, yeah. And so we my group went from kindergarten all the way through high school, all of us in the same classroom, basically. So
okay.
you can imagine that friendships were made and even a few enemies.
Of course.
Right?
Of
Um,
course.
the teachers were excellent. Venice had plenty of money. The railroads existed there, and
Hmm
they paid plenty of taxes and tax money. And Venice kids always had um, the newest textbooks and things like that. Now, of course, I'm speaking of the time before desegregation. Venice was a segregated community um,
hmm
for many years. Um, and there were schools in North Venice uh, as well as Lincoln that mostly the black students went to those schools.
Those are
hmm
all those were all elementary grade schools.
Yeah. Hmm.
like Dunbar and all of those. That was considered the high school, I believe, during that time, like in the 50s, I believe it was.
Yes. Yes. Again, the teachers were excellent. I still remember every one of my grade school teachers by name and what happened in those. And it was just part of what helped to create our feelings of closeness and of community because we
Hmm
stayed classroom altogether. That group
Mm-hmm.
all the way through.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it was uh, quite a good experience for us.
So when did it begin to you said that most of the African Americans were on North Venice and the other you guys were on the South Venice. When did it start to integrate?
Mm.
That was Go ahead. You remember, Paul?
No,
Okay,
I
that
was gone.
yeah, that was in the '60s, early '60s,
Okay.
and um, I might say that uh, integration in Venice went through with almost without a hitch. It was uh, they had closed Lincoln School. They were opening Venice High School for
Mm-hmm.
everyone, and the mayor of Venice was a man by the name of John Lee, and he was
Mm-hmm.
very important in political circles in throughout of Madison County. But he went to the Venice teachers and said, "I want this to be a good integration. I want this to happen without with very few problems." And
Problems. Mm-hmm.
and it did. And I don't remember any uh, any uh,
Any
dip,
serious issues going on?
yeah,
Any difficulties?
yeah,
Yeah. Let's.
Part of the reason it integrated so easily could be due maybe to the kids to some extent, because I remember in high school we would play basketball with Dunbar all the time,
yeah, yeah.
and so
Okay.
maybe the kids intermingling kind of helped everything
Kind of
along.
Yes,
help
it
that transition. Yeah.
yes.
Let's talk a little bit about Kerr Island. I never
Ah,
knew it was called Kerr Island. We just call it the island. So tell us about that.
well, that's quite an interesting story. The Kerr Island was um, the jumping off point for all of the commerce and trade that went to St. Louis. Um, there was a wooden bridge connecting Venice to the island, and that wooden bridge carried all of the cattle and all of the various commodities that would then move to St. Louis. And it was a poor area, did not have much available, and most of the African American families moved or settled there and in North Venice. Um, and um, the communities that really, when I was talking to some of the Kerr Island residents, I found them to say almost identical to the same things I was talking about the incredible
Mm-hmm.
sense of community that they had at
Mm-hmm.
that particular time, and what went on. And it seemed to be two separate societies, but they were doing the same things.
Well, I still
Right.
remember, even though they were kind of separated in geography, they did intermingle to maybe a surprising extent. Like I can remember as a kid going down to the island with the man that later became my father-in-law, Marcus Vogel. He did repair work for homes for women there, primarily for elderly women, and he would go
Mm-hmm.
down to the island on jobs, and he would frequently take me along to give him a helping hand.
Mhm. So
Oh wow.
although it was separate, it certainly was not separated.
And it was a poor area.
Yeah.
Definitely, it was
Yeah.
economic.
Yeah.
Definitely, it
I
was
do
economic.
know of it was that
It
kind
was
of community. I do know of some people that grew up there. Like my parents would tell us about people that grew up there. I know we're running out of time, but I want to also mention was the McKinley Bridge. Was the toll booth there? Was the bridge office there at the time? I worked at the bridge office for like 12 years.
Oh, you did.
Inside of yeah, I worked in the inside in the office part, but there were toll booths out there. I got
Sure.
a lot of memories for that too. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. The this, the bridge was built a little over 100 years ago. We had a 100-year celebration that the History Committee took part in, and Yeah, there was tow booths on each end. The bridge itself did not have any places for people to walk across. And so there was a bus that did nothing but run back and forth from one side of the bridge to the other. And that's
Mm.
how, if we wanted to go to St. Louis, we did that before the streetcars.
They had toll booths
Oh.
on each end. If you wanted to get into Venice from St. Louis, you had to pay to get into Venice.
Hmm.
And if you had
Mm-hmm.
to get out of Venice, you had to pay to cross the bridge to get out of
Across the
Venice.
bridge. I know when I was working there, it was 50 cents for cars, 65 cents for pickup trucks, and $1.50 for the big um,
Were the
18
street
wheelers, and $1 for the three axles.
were
Yeah.
the streetcars gone by that time or not?
Hmm.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was there in the 80s.
Uh,
Yeah, the streetcars used to go across that bridge.
Yeah, in the
Wow,
50s, we
wow.
did. Yes, yes, that was quite an experience to ride that streetcar from Venice over to St. Louis. In
Mm-hmm.
the high elevated area, that thing would drive as fast as it could possibly drive, and the thing would be rocking back and forth, and
Mm.
you just knew that thing was going to go flying off the bridge.
Tilt
But
over. Oh no.
it was our early thrill ride, you might say.
Let's talk a
And
little bit more about your uncle. You want to have something else to say?
yeah, I wanted to mention your bridge office was a part of the old Hyde Park. Uh,
The gambling casino.
Hyde Park, which was the gambling casino. Don't know if you remember or heard of that, but
No.
oh well,
But I will tell you this. I'm sorry, I
yeah.
didn't mean to cut you off, but I will tell you this. Inside of the office, the cash register that we had was this
Hmm.
huge old saloon style cash register. And all we just hit
Hmm.
one button and the drawer would pop open. I do remember I used to talk about that old cash register.
Yes, yes. Well, Hyde Park was a tavern, and it then became a gambling casino. Venice was
Mm.
noted for the illegal part of gambling, but
Oh,
many of Venice residents worked at the casino as dealers or croupiers or people working the various games that they had. Um, and one of which was a well-known teacher in Venice, and he his son was worked there cleaning up the floors. And when the police raided it, he told his son, "Go around and grab all of the cash money, the paper money, and get
Hmm.
it and take it home." And so he did. He grabbed all that money and he took it home. And so when his dad got home from that, they sat and counted the money, and they were wealthy. They
Oh
for
wow.
a short time, and then the state police came knocking on his door, and he
Uh-oh.
said they said, "Now we think your son took some money, and you're a well-known teacher, and we're not going to uh, cause you any problems, but we want the money." So they were wealthy for about 15 minutes or so.
Well, they enjoyed it while they could. Now
That's
let's talk a
right.
bit more about your committee. Now, did you guys create some DVDs? You have any type of recordings of some of the history?
Yes, we do. We decided originally they were going to make a book, and then we decided that, well, why don't we update and become modern? So we created a DVD. Um,
was that you and Don?
yes, Don Hornberger, the original uh, founder of the group, and myself, we worked on this one DVD about the history of Venice, and it filled an entire DVD. We had stories, photographs of things that took place during those days, and then we sold it to Venice
Oh,
residents or anybody that wanted them. And it turned out to be so popular, they said, "Well, can you do more?" And so we started then working on another one, which became four. We did four
oh
more
wow.
all together and sold the four and then the five all together as one package.
So it's
And
a
I
A
still have
five
mine.
set. Now, are they still? You still have yours? Is it available for newer residents to get, or people my age to have?
Absolutely, we can provide them to you either on a DVD, which I don't recommend as well as we also have them on flash drives that are
Okay.
available. And that we will still continue to sell them. And on the flash drive, they're $35 for all five.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely gonna. We're gonna connect after we finish all of this, and to see if I can get and maybe find out if any other residents would like to have some of this good history that we're talking about, because it has definitely changed from when you guys, were growing up here. Because they have a revitalization project going on. They're planning to build houses. They have the new school. We have our mayoral election coming up, so Venice is trying to do a lot, to try to revive the community as well.
Oh, that new school is going to be a hallmark for that community. That new school is going to really make things great down there.
It-
I still come down there just to see the school.
yeah,
So
yeah.
how could people become a part of the I mean, how could people become a part of the committee and stay more involved with some of the things that you guys are doing?
Well, here's becomes the hard part. Um, we were in 2008 a lot younger than we are in 2024. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, we did not continue to build this committee. We kept trying and kept trying to involve everybody that we knew um, and other people as well. But we dwindled to almost nothing. Unfortunately,
Mm.
we conducted an annual reunion, which we held in August of every year, and this past year was the first year that we have did not. And so uh, we unfortunately decided that maybe it was time to roll up the street, so to speak. But
Oh.
we're very, very still interested, and we're so pleased that to see progress in Venice. It does our
Mhm.
hearts and to remember and then have people then also growing up and hopefully having some of the same memories that we did that we do.
Yeah.
Uh, it's um, there's a gentleman by the name of Venice Govan, and Venice
Mhm.
Mom named him Venice because they were from Venice, and Venice was one that spearheaded a new reunion, and it was for all African American or actually anybody that had graduated or ever been a part of Venice High School, and
Oh
there
yeah.
there they had about 400 people attend. Uh, and Joanne and myself, we were there, invited, and
Good.
so we had a great time, and
Good.
everybody was just so happy uh, to talk about Venice and their feelings. So it turned out to be really a nice affair.
Good. I'm look. I think that was a wonderful idea that they did. I think it should go on and on. But we've run out of time, guys. I would love to stay and talk more because I know there's so much more that we can talk about. Bringing from the time, like you said, from the 30s, 40s up to today. But we're definitely gonna see what we can do, maybe to have this committee to be revived and continue to carry the history on. But I do thank you guys for taking time to speak with us, and I'll definitely be in touch for that DVD or that flash drive to and
Right.
share that, and hopefully get some more people to purchase. But thank you so much for spending time. So guys, thank you for tuning in. We would like for you guys to comment when you watch this video. We're going to be signing off now. So until then, guys, take care. Be sure to love everyone, uplift your community, and spread love. Bye bye.
Thank you so
All
much.
right, keep Venice alive.
Yes, sir.